The year is 1952, and the United States is holding its breath. It is a sweltering summer, the kind where the heat radiates off the pavement in visible waves. But the public swimming pools are empty, the playgrounds are silent, movie theaters are boarded up. A phantom is stalking the streets, snatching children from their beds and leaving them paralyzed or gasping for air within hours. This is the terror of polio, a disease that doesn't just kill, it imprisons. In hospital wards across the country, the rhythmic, mechanical hissing of iron lungs is the soundtrack of a nightmare. Inside these metal coffins lie thousands of children, looking at the world through angled mirrors, trapped in a life of static horror. We zoom into a basement laboratory at the University of Pittsburgh. It is not the gleaming, high-tech fortress of modern science. It is cramped, smelling faintly of formaldehyde, monkey kidney tissue, and stale coffee. Here, a man with deep, dark circles under his eyes is staring into a microscope until his vision blurs. Jonas Salk has not slept properly in months. He's 38 years old, but in this dim light, he looks 50. The air in the lab is thick, heavy with humidity and the crushing weight of expectation. Every time the phone rings, Salk flinches. Is it another outbreak? Is it a funding cut? Is it the news of another child who will never walk again? Salk is not the anointed prince of virology. He's the underdog. The scientific establishment, led by the towering figure of Albert Sabin, dismisses him. They call him a kitchen chemist. They say his method, using a killed virus to trigger immunity, is dangerous, foolish, impossible. Sabin believes you must use a live virus. The rivalry is not just professional, it is visceral. Salk can feel the whispers of his colleagues in the hallway, the judgment in their eyes. He is working against the dogma of his time, and the pressure is physically painful. He rubs his temples, his fingers trembling slightly, not from fear, but from a bone-deep exhaustion. He looks at the rows of test tubes. Each one represents a gamble. If he is wrong, if he injects a child with a vaccine that isn't perfectly inactivated, he won't just fail, he will become a murderer. The specter of the Cutter incident, a future tragedy yet to happen, but a risk that haunts every calculation, looms in the shadows. He is fighting a war on two fronts, one against the microscopic killer in the Petri dish, and the other against the clock. Outside, the case numbers are ticking up. 58,000 cases this year alone, 3,000 deaths. The scream of sirens is becoming the background noise of American life. In this claustrophobic basement, Salk makes a choice. He stops listening to the critics. He stops sleeping. He moves with the desperate precision of a bomb disposal expert. We see him drawing liquid into a syringe, the glass reflecting the harsh overhead bulb. He isn't thinking about fame. He isn't thinking about Stockholm or Nobel Prizes. He is thinking about the faces of the children he visited in the wards, the ones who couldn't turn their heads to look at him. The fear in the air is combustible, a spark away from panic. Salk knows he is the only thing standing between humanity and the abyss. He takes a breath, steadies his hand, and prepares to test the impossible. The summer of fear is at its peak, and Jonas Salk is about to light a candle in the dark. April 12, 1955, the day the world exhales. The announcement comes from the University of Michigan. The vaccine works. It is safe, effective, and potent. The news travels faster than the virus ever did. Church bells ring out across the nation. Factory whistles blow. People run into the streets, weeping, hugging strangers. Shopkeepers paint signs in their windows. Thank you, Dr. Salk. It is VJ Day, but for a war fought without guns. The nightmare is over. Salk is no longer the tired man in the basement. He is a god. He is the most famous man on earth, eclipsing President Eisenhower, eclipsing Churchill. But as the champagne corks pop and the flash bulbs blind him, a quieter, darker scene is unfolding in the back rooms. We cut to a mahogany boardroom, starkly different from the chaotic joy outside. The air here is cool, conditioned, and smells of expensive leather and ink. Lawyers, pharmaceutical executives, and university administrators are circling. They look at the data, and they don't see saved lives. They see dollar signs. They see a monopoly. The calculation is simple. This vaccine is not a luxury, it is a necessity for every child born on the planet, forever. The patent rights for such a discovery are estimated to be worth $7 billion in today's currency. That is not just wealth, that is empire-building money. It is enough to buy islands, to fund dynasties, to change the trajectory of a family line for a dozen generations. The lawyers have the paperwork ready. All it takes is a signature, just one scratch of a pen, and Jonas Salk becomes the wealthiest scientist in human history. We zoom in on Salk's face during this whirlwind. He is uncomfortable. He adjusts his glasses, looking at the suits who are talking about intellectual property and distribution rights. He hears phrases like market exclusivity and licensing fees. The temptation is not explicitly stated, but it hangs in the room like smoke. Who wouldn't want that security? Who wouldn't want to ensure their great-grandchildren never have to work? The pressure here is different from the lab. It's seductive. It whispers that he earned this, that he deserves to be paid for the years of terror and toil. But Salk's mind is elsewhere. He is thinking about the logistics of production. If he patents it, the price goes up. If the price goes up, who gets it? The rich? The insured? What about the children in the slums of Mumbai or the rural farms of Arkansas? He realizes that a patent is a wall. It is a gatekeeper. And he didn't spend his life fighting a virus only to let a lawyer stand in the way of the cure. The tension builds as he prepares for his appearance on See It Now with Edward R. Murrow. He is in the makeup chair, the powder puff dusting his forehead. He looks at his reflection. He is about to go live to millions of households. He knows the question is coming. He knows the lawyers are watching, holding their breath, hoping he will say the right thing, the smart business thing. He stands up, brushing the lint off his suit. The red light on the camera turns on. The world is watching. The $7 billion check is on the table, waiting to be cashed. And Jonas Salk walks toward the camera with his hands empty and his conscience clear.
The studio is stark, the black and white contrast of 1950s television making everything look sharper, more definitive. Edward R. Murrow, the titan of broadcast journalism, leans forward, a cigarette smoke trail curling up from his ashtray. He looks at Salk with genuine curiosity. The question lands with the weight of a sledgehammer, yet it is delivered softly. Who owns the patent on this vaccine? The camera pushes in on Salk, an extreme close-up. We see the texture of his skin, the slight twitch of a muscle in his jaw. This is the split second that defines him. In this moment, he could equivocate. He could say, the university, or we are working on the details. He could protect the financial interests of the people who funded him. The silence stretches for a beat too long. The lawyers watching at home surely lean in, gripping their armrests. Then Salk speaks. He doesn't smile. He doesn't boast. He answers with a rhetorical question that shatters the entire premise of the inquiry. Well, the people, I would say. There is no patent. Could you patent the sun? Cut to black. The sound of the quote echoes. Could you patent the sun? It is a sentence that incinerates $7 billion. It is a sentence that tears down the walls the lawyers tried to build. We see the immediate aftermath. The vaccine is manufactured everywhere. Israel, Canada, Denmark, Russia. There are no licensing fees, no royalties, no red tape. The price plummets. Distribution explodes. We see archival footage of lines of children stretching for blocks, sugar cubes in hand, waiting for their dose. We see the iron lungs being dragged out of wards and scrapped for metal. We see the playgrounds filling up again, the sound of laughter returning to the summer air. But we must zoom out to the present day to truly understand the magnitude of this no. We fade from the black and white 1950s to the high-definition neon of today's pharmaceutical landscape. We see headlines about insulin costing as much as a mortgage payment. We see EpiPens rising in price by 400%. We see life-saving gene therapies priced at $2 million a dose. The contrast is nauseating. In a world where every molecule is monetized, where the human genome itself is a battleground for copyright lawyers, Salk's decision feels less like history and more like a myth. Did he make a mistake?
A modern economist might say yes, he left generational wealth on the table. He died comfortable, but not a tycoon. But look at the legacy. Polio is 99.9% eradicated from the face of the earth. Billions of children have walked, run, and played because of that decision. Salk didn't just give away a formula, he gave away a piece of himself to ensure the survival of the species. The video ends with a shot of the sun rising over a modern city. It is free. It belongs to everyone, just like the cure. Salk proved that there are things in this world, vital, life-giving things that sit above the laws of commerce. He showed us that the highest calling of science is not profit, but service. And as we look at the challenges facing us today, from pandemics to climate change, we are left with a haunting question. If the next Salk discovers the next cure tomorrow, will they have the courage to say no to the billions? Or has the sun finally been sold?